love story. So where does it start? Yes, I was 6 and he was 5. Do not ask me the age distribution. He was young, love. Don't be so tough. He lived in my backyard, and in my front yard, there was this school he used to come to read his books. But the truth was, it was an excuse to see me his book. In our backyard, there lived this old professor who had cashew trees and used to give us cookies. And we used to go to his house on the weekends to see him. And he loved making fun of our young love. And he would turn to my little boyfriend and say, "She's my precious, you know you're precious." And he'll get all angry and say, "No, no, 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 no. She's my precious, she's not your precious. And when the time is right, she'll be my wife." Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, I'm still single. I don't know where that young man is. And the last time I actually heard someone say my precious was in Lord of the Rings, until now there's no ring. But let's move on to primary school. Yes, primary school. To keep his personality a secret just for a reason of anonymity. And it's not what you're thinking. I promise it's not what you're thinking. Let's call him D. It is not what you're thinking. So he was way taller than I was, and it was half Canadian. And I guess on his social radar, that made him cooler. And I was just like, "Excuse me, I'm also half Nigerian." And the other half is also Nigerian, but that's inconsequential, so let's move on. Yes, he was the most brilliant guy among the guys, and I don't want to be proud, actually. But the truth is that I was also the most brilliant girl among the girls. So we had this competition between us. And you would agree that in primary school there were two major issues. Number one, state and capital. Number two, multiplication table. You see tables 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, then 10, 11, 12 were relatively easy. But tables 7, 8, 9, particularly numbers 7 times 8 times 9, 8 times 8 times 9, 9 times 8 times 9, numbers 52, 54, 56, and 58 were always confusing. But I was lucky. I got numbers 2, 4, 10, and 12. He got 5, 7, 8, and 11. So I won. And I remember dragging him in front of the whole class, standing on tiptoe to talk to him because he was that tall, and saying, "I beat you this time, I'll beat you next time. In fact, next time, I'll wash your backside in slime." I was feeling so fly. I still remember the way he was angry. But till today, I do not know who increased the angle of elevation or who decreased the angle of depression, but somehow our lips kind of touched. I'm trying to say that we sort of kissed, and that's the sad story of how I had my first kiss my entire life. But let's move on to secondary school. Secondary school. Sadly, secondary school came and I didn't feel beautiful. Don't get me wrong, I didn't think I was ugly, but I just didn't think if you were to call the 10 most beautiful girls in class, I'd make the list. And Lord knows my mom tried. She would tell me, "Precious, you are beautiful. You are everything one man is looking for and is praying for." And I was like, "Of course, what will you say? You are my mom." And I really didn't believe her. I think downright till SS2 when I made one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. I said, "Precious, what do you have?" I said, "I can speak good English and I'm smart." I was like, "Okay, these two things you're going to use them to replace the beauty you do not have, and it's going to be some guy that's going to love you for these things and is going to want you for those things alone." And that was fine. Fast forward to university, things were still kind of normal in my first year. My second year, they started changing. It was like my market was coming and my economy was sort of booming, and guys were literally queuing. And I remember asking myself if I was changing because I felt I was the same. And many a guy were quoting on dying love, but I'd already learned before that point that I was not going to place my worth on the altar of words as common as "I love you" from a boy. But I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I told you that those stories are all in the start of my love story. Because the truth is, my love story actually started in 2018. When for the very first time in my life, I felt like saying to God, "Fuck you." And I always expect this reaction, you know, "How dare you say that to the God that created the heavens and earth?" But the truth is, you were not there. You're not there. In that auditorium, second to the last seat, beside a guy I cannot remember, watching the podium and seeing this mother and her 2-year-old daughter standing beside her father's coffin. And I remember she looked confused. And I remember just thinking, God, fuck you. Because our father, a lecturer at the age of 35, died of something as flimsy as malaria. And there was also a little boy there. But it was still in the mother's womb. It was just 6 months at that point. And I could just place myself in his shoes and just wonder, as he could hear the testimonies, the cries and the sermons going on the outside world, if he was thinking, Daddy, did you love me? Did you even want to touch me? Did you even wanted to see me? Why didn't you wait for me? And for the very first time in my life, I felt like saying to God, fuck you. But he didn't judge me and say, how dare you? Because you were not there. You were not in the cemetery. When this pregnant woman helped her little baby, her girl, to scoop up dirt on her father's grave. And I just remember thinking, what did she do to deserve that? And I remember for the very first time in my life, I felt like saying to God, fuck you. Because the thing is, you see, that little girl will never understand what it means to have a father. She's going to hear stories of who he was from people like us. For the very first time in my life, I felt like saying to God, fuck you. He didn't judge me that I'm saying that, but you are not there. December 2018, when we went to see a particular grandpa and grandma. And as grandma was coming to the living room, the hands of death, it was very, very visible that death had played strong games with her. Like its thumbprints and fingerprints were written all over her body like a gory crime scene. I remember she came into the living room, sat next to my mom, and she started crying. And she said to my mom, let me tell Grandpa, because he nursed me back to life. She said, I almost died. Then when my mom started crying, and then our grandchild started crying, but she started shouting at him, why are you crying? Who touched you, beat you? But I understood that little boy's pain, because, you see, his mom died while giving birth to him. And somehow in this little world, even though he did not understand the words of adults, he understood that the only mother figure he had in his life, he had almost lost her. And I remember for the very first time in my life, I felt like saying to God, fuck you. When on that Monday evening I was in class when I got that call, just 2 weeks after, that grandma had passed away. I wonder the clarity that little boy was not have gotten. How he would have asked, where did she go to? Is she going to come back? Can I go and see her? Why didn't she take me with her? And I'm going to tell you stories of how grandma went to a place it really can't be anytime soon. Never, for the very first time in my life, I felt like saying to God, fuck you. And it's easy to judge me, but you're not there. We're not a bridesmaid in early 2019 at a wedding, dancing like crazy, giving a baby names already. Only for it to happen that after she gave birth to her bouncing baby boy, she asked for his sex and she passed away. And you're just thinking, what did that child, what did he deserve? What did he deserve? A mother dying just giving birth to him. And I remember just thinking, what did that young man do to deserve being a widower just after 10 months of getting married? You know, and for the very first time in my life, I felt like saying to God, fuck you. Because that boy will never know how his mom smiled. He will never know how much of a great person she is. He would only hear of her, know her through pictures, through stories from people like us. that would tell him we were there the night before the day you were made. And I remember that for the very first time in my life, I felt like saying to God, fuck you. For every single time that you have taken our loved ones away from us without our permission, for every single time you've said you loved us and yet you take one of the most important things to us, I had a lot of God fucking moments. But you see, the very funny thing is, somehow in the midst of all these, I found something. I found out that this same God still loved me. And I just discovered that life is not some Google search engine where I can get all the answers to my questions, and I can't just develop an app that solves all my problems, and I can't filter away all the blurs, all the blemishes and the scars that life is surely going to bring my way. But I realized that there's something mentally distressing and emotionally soothing to just place all my questions to the one above. I discovered that I can choose to question my questions, to doubt my doubts, and just to relax in the realization that this same God loves me. He has plans for me. And even though I do not understand his method, I don't know why he does what he does when he does it, but somehow I've learned that this God still loves me and wants the best for me. So you see, the truth of my love stories, the true three sides of my love story is that one, I love me. That I'm a speck. That I am freaking beautiful. That they don't make my kind again in that factory, limited edition. Do you understand? And that's the most beautiful gift I can give myself, loving myself. Then number two, that God loves me. That even though I do not understand what he does, why he does it, when he does it, he still loves me. And there's just something comforting in that knowledge that there's a bigger plan somewhere, a blueprint of this crazy world called Earth. There's something there. And just settling in the fact that, you know what, on the last day, God, me and you, we have some serious talking to do. And lastly, the third side of my love story is you should love me.
One day go come. Life goes sweet as it's sweet before. Beauty is coming our way. Beauty is coming our way. Hey. Beauty is coming our way. Hey. Beauty is
only going to happen early in 2019 that the bride gave birth to a baby boy, asked for sex, and then she passed away. And for a moment you're just thinking, what kind of life is that? You're just thinking how a husband for just 9 months would become a widower, and it just bombs you. There's a way it hits you differently when you just think of that little boy. We'll never know who his mother was, and the only memories they will have is, pictures, stories of how great his mother was. A little boy coming into a world having done nothing, absolutely nothing, and for the very first time in my life, I felt like saying, God, fuck you. For the many times it takes our loved ones without asking us, for the many things I don't understand. Like, why would a trailer just hit a woman backing her baby, hawking oranges, trying to make a living? Why would you let that happen?